And joining us today in our Book Talk segment, great to welcome a woman who's written a book that will definitely help a lot of people going through, certain situations. It's called Facing the Finish, a roadmap for aging parents and adult children. We're joined today by Sheri Samotin. She is actually in Florida because she's going to have a book signing this Saturday, which is February 1st, 2 p.m. down in Naples at the Barnes & Noble down there. We'll get the address in a second. But Sheri, good to talk to you. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
Good to have a chance to chat with you. I know you just got off a plane, so appreciate you taking a couple of minutes there, but had a chance to kind of look through the book a little bit. I look forward to getting a chance to read most of it. I just got it yesterday, but I think everybody obviously will go through something. Either you'll be an aged parent or children of a parent that needs some help, so a timely and important book at this time, I would think.
Absolutely. It's, as I'm fond of saying, it's not if but when that all of us will be either the aging parent or the adult child.
I guess it seems, I mean, obviously people have lived to old age in years gone by, but it seems, I guess, now that people do live longer, you may not be in the greatest of health for a long time, so I guess that has added more problems, hasn't it, with aging?
No, that's one of the demographic trends has been that people are living longer, and frankly, especially in places like Florida, people are living well longer, but they're living further away from their families. So whereas years ago, families tended to stay pretty close to one another, and the extended family could step in for caregiving, now we have so many people who retired someplace else, and their kids are up north.
Yeah, in our case, my grandparents lived nearby for a long time, but then, of course, like many up in New York, they retired to Florida and in the Fort Lauderdale side. So, yeah, there was that gap, and they were in pretty good health for about 10, 12 years, and then my mother had to kind of help when my grandfather died. So, yeah, that did add that kind of, extra challenge at that point. So I guess a lot of families face that.
It's very, very common for there to be long-distance caregivers. And in fact, the most recent statistic that I have seen is that the number of adult children who are involved in the care of an aging parent has actually tripled in the last 15 years.
Wow. And the adult can sometimes be, the children of the aging parent they can be in their 60s and 70s, so they may not be youngsters either.
Absolutely. In fact, most of the time these days, that's what I'm seeing in my client base, is the adult children are in their 60s or even 70s, and mom or dad are in their 90s. That's not unusual at all.
Let's talk a little bit about the book, and you kind of give a real, like you said, a road map of what to do. I guess the first thing to do is just prepare as much as you can ahead of time, but what's the best thing to do to start?
Well, I'm a huge advocate of planning, and I think everyone should have what I refer to as a life transition plan that documents not only what to have and where it is, but also how you feel about important things and the kinds of decisions that other people in your family may have to make for you if you can't make them for yourself. And so what I like to say is we have an owner's manual for the car and the dishwasher and pretty much every gadget and appliance we own. Why not have an owner's manual for our life?
And that kind of brings up another topic, too. Obviously, the parent, they may know they're not in the greatest of health physically, but mentally they may still be there, so they don't really want, they don't want to lose that independence. So I guess there's always a little conflict there, isn't it, when you're putting these plans together, right?
Absolutely, but what I counsel people when I'm working with them is I say, look, you don't want your kids in your business, you don't want your kids to know all this, that's fine, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't plan and prepare and let your kids know where the information is should they need it. Kind of like break glass in case of emergency.
How about, you talked a little bit about, caregivers, obviously when there's Alzheimer's or a disease like that affects the mental aspect, that makes it obviously a lot harder. Any tips on how to deal with that?
Well, being a caregiver, if you're a close personal caregiver, is incredibly difficult because it's all consuming. And so many adult children, become overwhelmed very quickly. But we shouldn't forget that being a long-distance caregiver in its own way is even more stressful because you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, that is, and particularly the parent obviously may not be well versed in using the computer and all that, as far as that type of communication. They're still using the phone, so it is much more difficult. You just can't text mom and dad if they have never used that before, right, or used a computer.
Exactly. And so there's lots of tools that can be used, and I'll talk about those in the book. So technology can be your friend, but sometimes it's as simple as just putting a team together of local people, like neighbors or clergy or volunteers from the local community center or whatever it may be, that can actually be your eyes and ears and kind of keep you informed.
I know you have a section, too, in the book on, the health care, the insurance, and that kind of thing, health care, services that can help people out, but that does add a cost to it, and that's a consideration, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. Most people still don't realize that Medicare does not cover long-term or custodial care. Medicare is designed to take care of the acute needs in health care. But really, families are expected to self-fund either through having long-term care insurance or having a bucket of money available or some form of resources to take care of their older adults if they get to the point where they need some help. And so what I try to do is explain how all of that works, that there is the availability of public benefits like veterans benefits in some cases, and how important, again, it is to plan ahead because some of those resources can't be accessed if you have too much income or too many assets. And so sometimes planning ahead is very important.
Yeah, money obviously is a concern no matter what your health situation is, but when you're dealing with this type of thing, and a lot of people in that age group, there's challenges of are they going to outlive their money? I mean, they may live to 90, 95 in poor shape, so that money goes out pretty quickly in the nursing home or wherever they may be.
That's right, and many of them didn't plan if they retired at the traditional retirement age of 65, as so many of them did. They didn't plan to still be around in their 90s.
No, you hope you live a long life, but you hope if you're at that age, you're in good shape. But like you said, you can live 20, 30 years in not the greatest of shape. I guess the miracle of medicine, they can keep you alive, but you're not getting any better. So that's the downside, right?
Exactly. You got it.
Well, you're going to be doing a book signing this Saturday. We mentioned before, the Barnes & Noble in Naples. And do you have the address, Sheri? I didn't have it in front of me.
It's at the Waterside Shops in Naples, corner of Pine Ridge Road and US 41, right there on the corner. And it's at 2 o'clock, and we're going to do a brief overview of the book and questions and answers, and then I'll be available to sign personal copies for people.
Great. And do you have a website, Sheri, for folks who want to get a hold of the book?
I do. It's facingthefinish.com. That's facingthefinish.com. And in fact, your listeners, if they choose to, they can click right there on Get Free Stuff. There's a link right on the homepage at the bottom. And if they click there, they can register to join our community where they can access all kinds of free stuff. And if they use promo code Sarasota, then I will know that they came your way, and I'll send them a special gift. Oh,
great. It's a nice thing there. And again, the book is filled with a lot of great information. We just touched on it a little bit there. But like you said, everybody will have to deal with it on one side or the other, or perhaps both somewhere along the line. But it's called Facing the Finish, a roadmap for aging parents and adult children. Sheri, appreciate you taking a few minutes. I know you had a long plane ride today, but I know our audience here is happy to hear about you and the book. And please keep in touch with us. We'd love to have you on again sometime.
Thanks so much.